We're here today to talk about our support for rural communities in Florida. And our state is, we've been ranked #1 economy 3 years in a row by CNBC. We have a major, we've had, I think, 80% GDP growth since I've been governor, which is almost doubling the entire size of the Florida economy, and we're not done yet. We've, of course, been a very fast-growing state. Part of it, we were open during COVID. People were fleeing lockdowns. They also fled crime and BLM rioting. They embraced our education choice. There's a lot of reasons why people have chosen to come to Florida. We've seen more investment. We have AAA credit ratings from Fitch, S&P, and Moody's. Since I've been governor, if you take all the debt in the history of the state of Florida that we've accumulated over 180 years, thanks to the budget that I signed a couple months ago, we will have paid off almost 50% of that just in my tenure as governor, and we're going to do more, and I know Ben is supportive of us doing more in the future on that. So we now have the lowest amount of state debt per capita of all the states that have debt. Of course, no income tax, and we're working on the property tax, so we're going to get relief there too, so be ready. And #1 in higher education. We've been #1 in education freedom, parents' rights. All these different things are really, really important. But I will tell you, me as governor, it's easy when you're in governor in a big state, because when I got in, we had like 21 million people. Now we have like 23.5 million people. And I'm not asking people to move here. Trust me. Some governors are like, oh, please come to my state. Like, no, I'm happy with what we got, but it's a free country, and so people come. I know a lot of my supporters, when COVID was happening, they'd see these California license plates showing up. They got freaked out, as we don't want to import Berkeley to Florida. It turns out a lot of these people were fleeing those policies and were really embracing our policies. But be that as it may, the reality is people have voted with their feet. We've seen the state continue to thrive. And when you have those types of numbers, 23.5 million people, as a governor, just politically, if you're running for if you just focus on like Miami and Tampa and a handful of areas, politically you probably can be fine just doing that. But that wasn't the way I did it. In my first term as governor, I became the first governor in the history of Florida, that at least that's been recorded, to do public events in all 67 Florida counties. We've made investing in our rural communities a priority, because I think ultimately it's an important foundation for the state, not just economically, but culturally and historically as well. And we have done huge initiatives up and down this state, whether it's infrastructure, whether it's job training, you name it. We've been there and we've gotten it done, and we're going to keep on doing that. One vehicle that we have for strategic investments is the Florida Small Cities Community Development Block Grant Program. This is a program since 2019 that has awarded more than $138 million in funds to more than 120 small city and rural communities throughout the state of Florida. And part of what makes us strong is that we understand the opportunities that we have in our rural communities. Yes, someone like Ben can talk. I mean, he knows agriculture. It's a big, important part of the backbone of the state. But I will tell you, in some of these rural areas, very attractive for manufacturing, very attractive for a lot of other things that people are going to continue looking to do. So today, I'm proud to announce that we're going to continue to build off this momentum and this success through our Florida Small Cities CDBG program. And we are going to reward a number of small cities really significant awards. And first, and maybe most importantly, because I'm here, we are pleased to announce that we're awarding $6.4 million to the city of Arcadia to upgrade the existing biosolids processing system at the William Tyson wastewater treatment plant. The city's sole wastewater treatment plant is aging and frequently failing. It poses both environmental and health risks, and so this award will fund the critical upgrades for the plant's biosolids and aeration systems, and it'll help move the city toward regulatory compliance and will benefit about 8,000 local residents. So I know this has been something that people have wanted to see, and we're happy that we're able to deliver. We are also pleased to announce we're awarding $5.9 million to Florida City to make wastewater treatment plant improvements at 9 service areas throughout the city. Due to ongoing deterioration, the city's sanitary sewer system requires major upgrades across 9 service areas. This project will benefit nearly 12,000 residents in Florida City. So Florida City South, now we go $4.5 million north to Live Oak in north central Florida to rehabilitate low-income homes, as well as making upgrades to the city's potable water system. $3 million grant will fund the upgrades to the water system. An additional $1.5 million grant will rehabilitate or replace at least 21 homes for lower-income households throughout Suwannee County. We're also doing $2.89 million to the city of Webster to install a new master lift station and a new emergency generator. This is something that will come in handy. $2.8 million to the city of Lake Butler to replace water lines throughout the city. $1.7 million to the city of Port St. Joe to make sidewalk, landscaping, irrigation, and underground utility improvements. $1.2 million to the city of Green Cove Springs to install stormwater piping, swales, and inlets. $1 million to the city of Bluntstown to replace aging and unreliable water and sewer lines. $1 million to Liberty County to complete improvements at Veterans Memorial Park. $1 million to Santa Rosa County to construct a retention pond at the Whiting Aviation Park in Santa Rosa, creating 10 jobs and retaining 10 existing jobs. Almost $1 million to the town of Esto to complete improvements of the town water plant and to conduct water line replacement activities. We also have, for housing missions, $1.5 million to Hamilton County. We have America's 250th anniversary coming up next year, so we're already doing things. And one of the things I'm doing, around the country, you have some of these jurisdictions, they're tearing down statues of the Founding Fathers. Well, in Florida, we're putting up new statues of the Founding Fathers, and so we've already done one for George Washington in the state capitol, which is amazing. We did a Thomas Jefferson that had been mothballed by another state because he was politically incorrect, I guess, and we put that in Jefferson County, and then we're going to do Hamilton County, Madison County, Franklin County, Monroe County, and, I may even airdrop some Founding Fathers into Gainesville, Broward, I don't know. We'll make it interesting. So $1.5 million to Hamilton, $1.5 million to Lafayette, $1.2 million to Columbia, $950K to Madison, $900,000 to Hendry County, $850,000 to St. Lucie County, $750,000 to Levy County, and then finally $912,000 to town of Malone, which is really, really good. And we're looking forward to working particularly with those counties named after the Founding Fathers to be able to advance the ball there. So this is meaningful. We'll present the checks here in a minute. But first, I want to be able to bring up a couple speakers. And so, I think if you look at what happened in the most recent legislative session, I don't know that there's ever been more support for rural Florida than what we saw in that legislative session. And the reason for that, quite simply, is because of Senator Ben Albritten. He's really been a champion for the communities, not just here in his district, but the rural communities throughout the state of Florida, and that's evident by the legislation and the budget priorities that we saw come to fruition. So I want to invite him up to be able to say a few words.
Say first and foremost, as a sixth-generation Heartland resident and a fourth-generation citrus grower, I want to say, man, it's good to be home. It is good to be home. And I look out through this crowd, see a lot of friendly faces, a lot of family, a lot of folks. I want you to know I love you. I'm thankful for you. I'm thankful for your encouragement, your support over the years. Couldn't do this without you. I just couldn't do this without you. Governor, I want to point one thing out. Yeah, I appreciate your kind words, but look, at the end of the day, it's easy for me to be supportive of rural Florida because it's who I am. That is who my family has been for 6 generations. You have been consistent, though, to be supportive of rural Florida. Rural Florida is full of freedom-loving patriots. And the fact of the matter is you are beloved in rural Florida, and it's because you've been consistent, and I want to thank you for that. You know rural Florida exists. You know rural Florida is important, and you also know in rural Florida that agriculture matters. And those communities matter. It evolves around agriculture. You completely get that. I appreciate that, and I'm sure everybody in the room appreciates that. Thank you. So, lastly, I want to leave you with this. Everything I just said is true. Everything I just said is true. And the Florida legislature and this governor, we know that rural Florida exists. At the end of the day, there are 31 fiscally constrained counties in this state. And what that means is every single day, there are some places in the state to where they have to try to figure out how to spend their money and how to be responsible and thoughtful. Hello? How to be responsible and thoughtful with that. Many times in those 31 fiscally constrained counties, they don't have 2 pennies to rub together. There is no choosing between a chicken and the egg. They don't have either. They want one of the 2, but they don't have it. So I bring that up because the numbers that you're talking about here may not be substantial relative to other investments around the state, but they are strategic, they are key, and at the end of the day, they really matter. They really matter. Every single dollar that gets allocated to be in support of rural communities makes a difference. And the magnitude of that impact is pretty difficult to measure when you start with nothing. So, right? Yeah. So, Governor, appreciate your focus on rural Florida and not just saying it, doing it. So thank you for that. Friends and family, love you, appreciate you. Thanks for the support. Thanks for the encouragement over the years, and I look forward to continuing to serve you as long as the good Lord allows. Thank you.
Well, Governor, thank you so much, and Senate President Albritten. Thank you so much to Alex Kelly, Florida Secretary of Commerce. Governor, thank you for your leadership and support and direction to really embrace and support rural counties throughout the state. All 20 of the grants that you discussed today for 19 different communities in the state really do, the values that President Albritten you just described really do hit those values. They really are core to these communities, and they really are meant to catalyze economic development. So thank you, Governor. Thank you, President, for your focus on rural communities. I want to maybe just cover 2 quick additional points that I think are really important. First, here in DeSoto County for the project for the city of Arcadia, this was one that we at Florida Department of Commerce really kind of took personally, took under our wings, because a little more than a year ago we were here. We were in the city. Hey, Beth, I see you. We were here in the city visiting. We were doing a rural heartland tour. The Central Florida Regional Planning Council took us around several counties, and our last stop was the water treatment facility in the city of Arcadia. We got a great briefing and understanding as to how critical that is going to be to catalyze economic development. And then we were back here a few months later, and Beth actually pulled us aside. Beth Karsten pulled us aside at a Rural Economic Development Initiative meeting and said, "Hey, we're running short on this project. We might need some help." And so we started that dialogue. We started that process. And so when applications came in, this was the first one that we grabbed, and we said we got to get Arcadia there. So it became very personal, but it's really because of great partners here locally who, local and state partnership. And it just shows to the points that Governor and President you were making that sometimes these dollars, it covers a gap that you don't always realize is there till that critical moment, and it just makes a difference. And it's, again, state and local partnership really matters. The other thing is just all 19 of the communities, Governor, that you went over that are getting grants today, we really, reflecting on the storms of the last couple years, Idalia, Debbie, Helene, Milton, we really proactively reached out at your direction to a lot of those communities, particularly rural communities, have been impacted by those storms. All 19 of these communities had impacts from at least one of those storms. 13 of them had impacts from 2 of those storms or more. So this was also really a part, as governors, you do every day, to really build up the resiliency of these communities to make sure that whatever those impacts were, they don't repeat themselves, and these communities are stronger and better the next time. So again, Governor, thank you for your leadership. Mr. President, likewise, and everybody here, just thank you for your partnership in getting today and supporting these grants. Thank you, sir.
Okay.